Hello and welcome to my stream today. My name's Jason, also known as Dragon11, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of just laid back shiny hunting in Legends Arceus ahead of the release of Legends ZA tomorrow, which I'm apprehensive about, but I'll talk about that a bit later. But first, I just want to pop into Pokemon Home to sort of do a quick catch up on where I'm at with my shiny living decks, which I have been working on off stream lately. I did do a bit of this on stream a while back, but ran out of good shiny hunts to do on stream because a lot of them were very slow and tedious ones. But anyway, I'm just going to go down to the main Pokemon Home section here. And yeah, so here we see my shiny living deck. So we've got one space here, which is the Ash Hat Pikachu that I'm currently soft resetting for on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which is taking quite a while as it's a full odds soft reset shiny hunt. Yeah, as we go through, it's got pretty much all the rest of Gen 1, including regional forms, done and sorted. Did have a few more evolutions to do, but I got them sorted last night. On to Gen 2, so again it's mostly full, but then we get to this section. So this is the section I've been working on Legends Arceus, which is my unknown deck, so I still have 4 left. So if I'm lucky I might get one of these today, but it has been quite a slog and I've not been getting that lucky with them. So the odds of actually getting a new shiny and not a duplicate is getting slimmer and slimmer each time I get one. So that's probably just going to be a long-term thing, or I might have to try and look for some other way to fill in the last few gaps. But I will get to that point when I get to it. So carrying on, so all of these, so a lot of this area of the Pokedex is done, so most of the Pokedex is done. Do have these Pokemon Go Deoxys here, which I do kind of want to replace at some point, but getting hold of legitimate ones. So these are ones that they appear to be from, they appear to be legitimate. I picked these up in GTS trades back on the DS and 3DS days. They look legitimate. They appear to be from the Fire Red and Leaf Green or Emerald. I think that one's from Emerald. That one's from like Fire Red or Leaf Green. They appear to have been caught from the legitimate events that were given away. It's the Birth Island ticket, which I was never able to get hold of, so hence I've never been able to shiny hunt for them myself, and don't really want to go back to the game just to shiny hunt for one Pokemon on an event that I can't actually get hold of, which I'd have to hack the game just to get the event, which isn't great. So I don't really want to do that, and don't really want to restart my game again, because I don't really like replaying the same game. If anything, I'll just get the other version of the game and play it, but I've already played through all of those games fully, so I don't really want to do it again. But yeah, I imagine Pokemon Company will be releasing these as some sort of event at some point again, so I will definitely be replacing them when I can. Let's say the Pokemon Go ones are just placeholders for now. So carrying on. Wait, did I miss one? Did I miss another one? Yeah, Electrike as well. Electrike is another Pokemon Go one that I've put in as a placeholder, but that is in Legends ZA, so I'm going to try and replace that from Legends ZA. So that has been confirmed already. It will be in the game, so that's going to be one I'll be working on. Yeah, so all through here, got them all. So I've got some gender forms. Haven't gone all for all the gender forms. So there are a few that I haven't bothered with, which I either forgot about or just don't really see the point in if their appearance is too similar. I think the only one that I might go back for is Unpheasant, that I only got one of. I overlooked that, so I might have to go back and get another one so I can get both genders, but that's a thing I can come back to at a later date. So I've got one for now, so that will do for the time being. But that is something I will be sort of keeping an eye out for if the option comes up. Yeah, so all through here we've got Patrat and Watchog. I need that one I got from a trade somewhere, probably back in the black and white days. That is in Legends EA as well, so I will probably be trying to get another one of them, possibly replacing the traded one, because getting them myself would be preferred. So some of these I assume they are legitimate, but there's the poo dove. Yeah, I got that one in the trade as well. Some of these in trade. Did I not get a single one in myself? No, I didn't. Oh. That'll be something I can come back to. Say, during that generation it was a bit hard to get hold of some of these, so some of these I did get myself, others I had to trade for. But that was when I was doing a lot of trading for shinies back in the day, but whenever I get one myself I do replace it, but it's still in the shiny deck, so that's fine. But yeah, going through here, still all complete. Yeah, so this is a fairly solid region. Yeah, wait a whole day for Legends, yeah. So I'm holding out, so I believe it goes live. It might actually already be live in Australia and whatnot, or New Zealand, but I am not going to be paying too much attention to that to avoid spoilers. I'm doing fine, thanks. Yourself? Yeah, so this section there's 10 missing. This is the fur through, which again, Legends EA. So the last time it was available shiny was, I think technically Sun and Moon, but you couldn't get all the forms to transfer forward. You could only transfer the base form, so I just didn't bother going back for it. But yeah, I'll be trying to get all the forms, or the trims of fur through. A couple of Pumpkaboo I never picked up. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to get everything later than others. Well, it's not necessarily later than the others. America gets it later, so it's just as the time zones roll round. So it's yeah, I'm going to be doing a bit of shiny hunting in Legends Arceus today, just sort of going over my sort of apprehension for ZA while reminiscing about Legends Arceus. Yeah, so a couple of the larger Pumpkaboo I didn't pick up. I got the Gorgeist. Managed to get the Gorgeist, didn't get the Pumpkaboo. I actually managed to. I found the. Yeah, I did catch them all myself. They are from the Dynamax raids and Sword and Shield. I think I'm fairly full after this, so. Yeah, all these are complete, and obviously Scarlet and Violet I've completed. Just the one roaming Gimmighoul with the Go mark that you can't get rid of, because that's the only place to get it. But yeah, so that's my very nearly complete shiny living dex. So I think it was 18 shinies I still need for it, plus one or two that I can pick up as optional extras along the way. Yeah, so. So the thing about, I've seen a lot of people shiny hunting for Pokemon to use in the new game, but I believe you can't actually transfer Pokemon in and out through Pokemon Home until next year. I believe they have already announced that, and a lot of people seem to be overlooking it. I'm going to swap over to Legends Arceus now. So that's a thing they quite often do to stop people from... Yeah, they stop people from getting through the game too easily. So I'm pretty sure they have done it with the last few releases, but I think people have just forgotten about it. But yeah, I'm not too far. I'll get them when I get them. So there might be a few that I just start shiny hunting for. So I'd rather like to see what shiny Dragonite's Mega looks like. I'd kind of like it to be purple. Even though the normal is green, I would kind of like it to be a sort of pinky purple to stay in line with the pre-evolutions. But yeah, you do have to finish off the Pokédex, but I always like the first playthrough. I always like to just play the game itself fully and just get everything in the game on its own, and then move on to other things. Wow, that is no outbreaks. Yeah, so I don't mind if it would be green, but I think it would be a nice touch because the Mega draws from the pre-evolutions appearance. I think it would be a nice touch for it to carry on the shiny colour. And they have messed with the shiny colour of Megas before now, so it would make sense. Well, it makes sense. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for them to mess around with it again. So I'm just popping in here just on the off chance for a shiny unknown, just to reset the outbreaks. No, wait, say that they have played around with Mega's colouring before now. So like, one of the Charizards has a... Is it the Charizard X, which usually turns black, or just sort of dark green, turns white, I think it was, rather than the regular black for Charizard. Garchomp turns purple, rather than the god-awful shiny colour it usually has. I think Mega Gengar turns white. And so they have played around with them before now. Why did I just by default went to... This is my go-to. Because I've been hunting for unknown, just without thinking I just went straight back into here. Anyway. Yeah, so they do play around with the shiny Megas a bit. So, yeah. So some of them they do sort of play around with. So it wouldn't be unusual for them to change the shiny colour of the Mega. So I think it's possible. I wouldn't mind if it was still green though, because I do like the green Dragonite. Either way. So, right, okay, this is what I was meaning to do. Go and actually do some massive mass outbreaks. Not going to be catching stuff, I'm just going to be flying over and checking for any shinies as they spawn. It's the easiest way of doing it. Okay. Yeah, so I'm avoiding too many spoilers. Yeah, I do have Switch 2, so... so this is playing on the Switch 2 right now, but don't really know if it makes much of a difference. On Legends Arceus, at least. The Scarlet and Violet makes a huge difference, that's a lot of fun to play on. Where's this outbreak? There it is. Topics. So I'm just going to be doing this sort of thing, just roaming around from one outbreak to the next, just seeing if any shinies pop up. There's a fairly good chance of there being one. But so I'm not going for anything specific at the moment. Seeing as I've... Nope. Oh, come on. Did she catch me in the air? Well, wasn't intending to do this. Yeah, Scarlet and Violet, I love the... shiny hunting in. So, with the new update for the Switch 2 is just... pressing the wrong buttons here. Let's just go Dark Boss. It's level 100, it's not going to be that difficult. It almost killed itself. But anyway. Yeah. I don't really know how all the American stuff works. So I assume they would be compatible, but they might not be. They might be region locked. Not too sure. So I've never bothered with importing anything. So I think the only foreign game I technically have is Pokemon Gold on the Game Boy Color. And that was just because I was in America when it was released over here. It was already out in the States when I went over there. It was on a family holiday to Florida. I assume the charger would still work regardless of read. You could just get a local charger and it would still work. Just a USB-C cable or USB. Yeah, it's USB-C. Where am I going now? I've gone the wrong way. Completely the wrong way. So they do sell replacement chargers, so they're not difficult to get hold of. And say my Switch 2 charger, it just plugs into a. It's just a USB-C cable that plugs into a power block. Yeah. I think. So I don't know Europe prices or whatnot, but say UK, I'm never really deal with euros or anything. But I don't know how much more expensive it is in each country. So. That one. I was trying to remember. I had a way that I used to climb up here. That one. That's how I do it. Okay. I was just trying to remember how to. Yeah, so I have a feeling Europe is more expensive than the UK, but so I'm not sure about that. So I've never really looked into it. No reason to. Where's I going? Around that way first. Yeah, so I've been trying to avoid too many of the ZA spoilers. So now that it's out, so no. But yeah, so with go away. Is that another one of them? Two of the women sisters in one map. I don't know if they all appear at the same time or what. Yeah, I've seen little bits and pieces. So I've looked at the sort of reviews that have come out for it. What do I think I saw something? No, lost my imagining it. Anyway. Yeah, so I've seen reviews, but only the sort of spoiler-free ones. So I haven't been spoiled too heavily on it. But it was more trying to alleviate my concerns, but unfortunately, it seems my sort of concerns may have been accurate. Yeah. So that's one of the things I'm curious about. So there's not really been much said about it, and so that it's the wild areas that was my sort of big concerns. So I was convinced they couldn't possibly have gone to such small areas, but that does seem to be a common criticism with the reviews. So it seems that they may have just been a bit too restrictive with the location, is what a lot of them are saying. Unfortunately, so fairly small spawn areas, which could be good, could be bad. What's them though? Yeah, so apparently there's like 20 or something like that wild areas around the city that unlock as you progress, and apparently some of them seem kind of out of place, which is another sort of why do it then? These are supposed to be sort of Pokemon living in the city, and that's what part of the reason I was concerned about it, because I couldn't see how they could get enough variety into the city without it seeming out of place, and it seems like that was correct. And they've just made it out of place. So, unfortunately, I may have been right on that one. But so I didn't think they would actually do that, and I thought they would. I thought they were hiding something. Turns out they weren't, or it seems they weren't. But so yeah, we did. Even if it's not Kalos, just well, the idea I had was of how they might have tried to fix it. Yeah, well, DLC is part of it. So that's what I'm thinking of now is going to be how they might be planning to fix it and to expand the world. And they're just focusing on the battling for the main game, just because that's the new feature. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm thinking they are just sort of focusing on the battling because that's the cool new thing that they want to show off. Possibly. But yeah, my initial thought was that they could use they could sort of be being a bit cheeky with how they were sort of hiding it, because of the whole Legends idea. In Legends Arceus, we went to the past and saw past Sinnoh. So I was wondering if we were going to time travel in ZA as well, and maybe we time travel to Lumio City in the past, and we see it as it's developing at different stages of development, or even before it even was established. So we could go back to like prehistoric times in that same location. So yeah, so I was thinking sort of even if they stuck to the area of the city, that could be what they were referring to, saying it was set in the city. So each of the I was sort of thinking each of the areas we'd visit would be the same size of the city, the same sort of footprint area, but just at different points in history. So go back to prehistoric times, and it's a lush jungle, and maybe go to an ice age and find all the ice Pokemon. And, maybe there's a volcanic era with volcanoes and stuff, or that could even be part of one of the other ones. It could be the ice age. It could be like one volcano in the middle of the ice age, and have fire and ice alongside each other. And sort of moving more recently, there could be like a Lumiose town or village that you could find in one time period, surrounded by fields, and a lot of like field Pokemon spawn there and things like that. I thought that would be a great idea to get all these different landscapes in while still within the area of Lumio City, because of what they done with Legends Arceus. So it seemed like that would be a logical point to follow on from, but it seems they haven't really done it Well, it's about getting more mons. So another of the things is that it seems to be very limited as to the variety of Pokemon you actually get. So it seems there aren't actually that many Pokemon that spawn in each sort of wild area, and there's not really that much variety from the sounds of it. So it seems they have sort of stepped back on the whole catching side of the game, which there's another of the common criticisms, which is a little bit worrying. But so I reckon if they do the DLC, so we've got the Mega Dimension DLC already announced, so if they just stuck with that and used the DLC, the Mega Dimension, as a new area to explore and catch wild Pokemon in, that could be great. And they could then release other areas following that. Whether or not they'll actually do that, not sure yet. So, just gonna have to wait and see. Well, I don't really know how they're gonna get more Pokemon in. It does sound like, from the reviews I've seen, there isn't that much variety. I'm guessing once they add home compatibility, which appears to be coming around the same time as the DLC, I'm guessing that's when they're going to add more Pokemon in. And more Pokemon will be available through the DLC. But, so in the base game, it doesn't really look like there's that much... Hold on. Doesn't really look like there's that much variety at the moment. Which... so it is a little bit concerning. So there's also like the sense of adventure you get from like exploring areas like this. You can there doesn't really seem to be that in Legends ZA. It's apparently once you've explored the city for a few hours, you've basically seen everything. And the new wild zones just get added into what you've already seen, which does seem to be sort of missing some of the charm of Pokemon games of the past. I'm a little bit concerned about that. What they all are sort of saying, or sort of talking positively about. Yeah. Cozy with this new style of Pokemon. Are they getting cozy with it? Or do you just mean the DLC, where they release new content as DLC? I think they are getting a bit too laid back about adding stuff in DLCs. So well, BDSP got a lot of criticism for not being a very good remake, so they might be a bit apprehensive of remaking games for the time being. There have actually been leaks coming out. I've sort of seen them earlier this week. I've seen bits of them, I haven't actually seen the full details, but one of the things that was allegedly leaked was a multi-region MMO style remake of past Pokemon games, which would be an interesting take. So apparently you'd just be able to walk from one region to the next. But I think there are a lot, but I think they're sort of planning to do their own sort of thing for that now. But the regions that it seems to be is the Japanese regions. at least to start with, as they do sort of connect very easily. Let's go Pokemon Ranger. That wouldn't actually be too bad of a matchup with the what I call mice cons. So with the mice cons, you could actually bring back Pokemon Ranger mechanics, doing the looping with the mouse controls on the Switch 2, which would be an interesting idea, but so it doesn't sound like they're sort of planning anything like that just yet. So they're apparently the next Legends game that they've got planned is Legends Gala, revisiting the Sword and Shield games already, which does seem a bit early, but seems reasonable. Yeah, so it would make sense to have the Joy-Cons recreating the touch controls of the DS. So yeah, it does sound like they are moving to Gala again for the next Legends game, which yeah, I'm sort of indifferent on it. So it depends on how they do it. So I think it's only the general concept that it will be going back to Gala that's been leaked, and no other real details as far as I'm aware. So what sort of mechanics and stuff they use. Yeah, they had the lore, but so we could sort of end up going back and witnessing the is it princes it was? Or were they kings? Something like that. With the original Zacian Zamazenta, which would be an interesting idea. Sort of Calyrex and that sort of history could be revisited. But again, that's sort of depending on how they interpret the Legends concept. So Legends ZA, not too sure how much that actually delves into the history of things. And would they actually do it going back to the history, or would they just do it as a continuation of the first games? So Legends ZA sounds like it is just a sequel to X and Y. So it's just sort of unfinished story ideas, I'm guessing. That I'm pretty sure Pokemon Z was originally planned for was it Gen 7? Was it Gen 6? How long ago was it? For that generation. I'm guessing they were planning to do a Z game. Sort of deciding which way to go. Go this one this time. But I think they just never got round to doing it. Yeah, well, I never really got into Megas personally, so as I collect more than battle, so I'm more into the new Pokemon rather than the new Megas. So Megas are just another form of existing Pokemon, so it's a case of I've already got this Pokemon, don't need it, don't need another one. So it seems a bit pointless to me at times when they do that sort of thing. Yeah, the designs are fine. The designs are good. But so in actual gameplay, I've never really used them properly. So nope. Get myself down there. But yeah, I've always been more into the collecting than the actual battling, so all the gimmicks I've never really gotten into all that much, so Mega Evolution never really appealed to me. I sort of hardly used it during my playthroughs. I'm trying to read while playing. Yeah, the newer ones are kind of quirky. They're doing different things with them. So I just never. So designs are one thing, but you can't just put them in a box as a mega and have it as part of a collection as a mega. So it's just the base Pokemon still. So if Mega Evolutions were permanent, then that wouldn't be too bad. If they just Mega Evolved as long as they were holding the Mega Stone, that'd be something, but that isn't a thing. So collection-wise, they've never appealed to me all that much. So none of the sort of gimmicks have really appealed to me. No. Yeah. So there would need to be some sort of restriction on it, but from the collection sense is more what I'm sort of meaning. So even if just while it was in the box, it took on the form of the Mega, if it was holding the Mega Stone. Yeah, so Mega Evolution, the Z moves, Dynamax, Gigantamax, I never really used all that much. Terrestrialization is the one thing that I've actually used more of. And that doesn't really introduce new forms or anything, it's just a mechanic. So I think it's a bit... It's not really on the same level, I don't think. I mean, Z moves I could have used more, I just never really got into them, because they... Having to use an item just for like one move didn't seem great. It seemed like a step back, if anything, from Megas. So it was like a mechanic that I already wasn't that into. Taking a step back at the same time was... it didn't really work for me. So Dynamax wasn't too bad. I just never really saw the point in using it, because you could only really use it in very select situations because of the Dynamax locations. It was a bit too restricted in that way, and so I just never really got into it. But then Terrestrialization you can use a lot more freely. So you do have to recharge your Terror Orb, is it? But that wasn't really a problem. I'd quite often, after a big fight, I would want to go and heal, and it just worked. And still no shinies. Yeah, so the Megas, I will probably use the Megas more in ZA, because it does sound like they've improved... I just done that. It does sound like they have actually improved how Megas work in ZA, because it has the charge for them. You have to build up the charge before you can Mega Evolve, and then you can Mega Evolve repeatedly if you build up the charge again, which sounds like just a general improvement to the mechanics. So it does seem better. It just doesn't work as well from the collection side of things. go this time. This way this time. Going back and forth between these areas. There's the next spot. It's not great. But, yeah, so yeah, they're fine. But so one of the things, so another things with ZA is that I haven't seen any mention of new Pokemon or new sort of regional variants or anything having been announced or having been sort of mentioned in any of the reviews. So I haven't looked at the spoilers, so I don't know if there are any in the game or not. But so far there's been no mention of it. So I'm wondering how much is there actually going to be for me to shiny hunt for. So how much is there to add to my collection? So it's a little bit concerning again in that sense, but so it does seem like they are just going all in on the battling. So if they have fixed the megas, that's great. Yeah, so with the shiny hunting, it could go either way at this point. So with the more restricted wild zones, I didn't mind Scarlet and Violet. So I quite enjoyed just having loads of Pokemon spawning and being able to select the Pokemon to hunt for a lot easier. I do also like Legends Arceus just because of the randomness of it. So I would love just another game that plays like Legends Arceus, but just expanded upon. Would be great, which I was hoping they'd do with ZA, but so it seems the Legends games aren't more of a so the Legends games are more of a experimental concept rather than an sort of single-minded series. Yeah. Well, I would have liked the shiny sound in Scarlet and Violet, but I did also find it fun trying to spot the shinies as well. So I didn't really mind too much, but I believe it has been confirmed that the shiny sound is back in Legends EA, but so how the shiny hunting will actually be, we'll have to see. So it could quite easily go either way. So with the smaller areas, I see it either being a case of there's not enough spawns to get shinies, or the variety in those areas is small enough that you can quite more easily shiny hunt for specific Pokemon, while still having the shiny sound, which yeah, I think as far as catching goes, it does seem like there's a lot of the research stuff again, so I think that sort of shiny boosting, like they've got in Legends Arceus, boosting by researching the Pokemon. It does sound like that's might still be a thing. Well, I haven't actually seen it confirmed, but that I have seen talk about researching Pokemon. So I'm guessing that's a thing, and that will probably boost shiny odds for those Pokemon, which is a fine way of doing it. So I've never completed the Pokedex entries for many of the Pokemon in Legends Arceus, but I still shiny hunt for a lot of Pokemon in this game. And you could quite easily sort of focus on a specific Pokemon. So if you wanted to shiny hunt for a Pokemon, you could just research that Pokemon to boost its shiny rate, which I thought was a really nice idea. So that sort of mechanic, so I think it is still in the game, but say it's the spawns I'm concerned about. So if there's only sort of a handful of Pokemon spawning in each area, are they going to be mostly the same Pokemon, allowing you to effectively isolate them to boost your chance at them, so that when the shiny does show up, it's that Pokemon? Would be good if they done that. It would make it a lot easier, considering the lower number of spawns. Say, in Legends Arceus, you've got this big wide area that you can just roam around, going from one spot to the next, just waiting for a shiny to pop up. In ZA, it sounds like... Ooh, that's a shiny Yanma. I remember the controls. And that was the shiny sound again. Okay. Focus. Careful. Done. Missed that one. Right, that's one shiny. No, I'm being targeted. Yeah. That was quite a nice one. Where am I going? Back to camp. Oh yeah, I did actually do a counter. One. Oops. Oop, dropped my controller. Okay, shiny score 1. Gee, I should probably... Let's just open this up just to... Okay, I've got these in the same box, that's fine. But yeah, I may have caught some extra shinies while hunting for unknown. So, the 24 I've currently got are not the only shiny unknown I've got. And you can tell the route I always take because it's the same Pokemon spawning across them. Or the outbreaks of the women. Yeah, I've caught quite a few that are duplicates. But yeah, so 24 out of 28 is where I've got to. Anyway, back to the camp quickly. Yeah, I don't think I can actually spell my name because I think I'm missing N. So I think I'm mixing C, N, W, and Z. I think it was. That's my list. Yeah, C, N, W, and Z. Which, isn't bad. So I've caught quite a few. Yeah. So I would be doing it today, but I tried that in a stream before now, and unknown spawn shiny so infrequently, I got one in an entire stream. So I figured, okay, from now on I'm just doing random shiny hunts in this game, because it is a lot more straightforward, a lot more consistent. So anyway, I've got a licky outbreak. Let's go over here. I haven't been over here yet. Oh, I'm not bothering with Spinder. Spinder would just be silly to go for. That is... I would need to start up a game for every time for a different one, or that's just ridiculous. I'm never going to do Spinder. I've got one Spinder, and that's it. I'm not bothering with all those silly variants. That would be pushing it a bit far. It was bad enough doing Alcremie. That was like 64 shinies to catch. Which, fortunately I had the event in Scarlet and Violet to boost the odds, but spotting Milcery shiny is not easy when you're doing it 64, well, technically 65 as I didn't evolve one. So 65 times trying to spot the slightly different colour and the little black eyes. Yeah, that was a tough one. Okay. Okay, hide in the grass, hide in the grass, hide in the grass. Go away, you. Ow. No, run away, run away. I'm gonna need to get that one to leave me alone, or I can catch this one. So the random shiny thing does work from time to time. So I just need to be very careful with this one. Oh, what is attacking me now? Don't spot me again. Okay, gonna try and sneak up on the shiny. Don't look this way. Oh, for... Near enough. Got it. That'll do. Okay, that's another one caught. I need to update my account already. I was not expecting to do that twice in quick succession like that. Right. Next! Anyway, yeah, so the shiny Alcremie was a fun one. Meteor was a fun one to do shiny as well. I'm not sticking around to try and... I didn't hear the shiny sound when I left, so... I have got two from an outbreak before now, but... not bothering to go back for there. Anyway, yeah, so... yeah, done some rather awkward shiny hunts. I streamed my attempts at shiny 3-segment the Dunsparce, which took me about 60 catches to get, and that was before the Switch 2 upgrade, which a glitchy bit, which was a little bit annoying. It would have been so much easier to do after the upgrade. Which way do I want to go? I'll go over to this one. Yeah, the 3-segment. That was a fun one to hunt for. Fortunately, I waited until after the Switch 2 update before going for Tandemaus for the family of 3 mousehold. And then ended up getting that within like 20 to 30 shinies. Which... so I did not stream that one, because that would have been insanity, but once I got the hang of spotting the shiny, I actually had to change the colour on my TV to make it show up clearer. So I tweaked the colour setting so it looks more of a pink colour rather than the grey. I think adjusting the settings made the normals look grey and the shinies look pink. Or sort of a bluey grey, I think it was. And the shinies had more pink on them, which made it a lot easier to spot, but it still wasn't easy, because it was still only a slight colour difference. But it was just sort of a tint of pink instead of a tint of blue, but I'd have to look very carefully at each of them as I went round, which was not easy. But I ended up getting that in like 20 to 30 shinies, so it was actually pretty good odds on that. So definitely above ahead of target. So I was afraid that was going to be an absolute miserable time getting them. But it wasn't, so lucky me. But yeah, since then I've mostly just been plugging. I went back through Sword and Shield. I was doing a lot of Dynamax raids to try and fill in a few gaps. And that one's not shiny. Oh, this wasn't too bad. I got one shiny. I'm being targeted again. Having to wait for the thing. There we go. I can fast travel. Excuse me. But yeah, so been plugging through Dynamax files. I've done some breeding for a few, but managed to plough through most of the remaining targets. And now I'm down to 18 shinies I still need for the living dex. At least what I'm counting as my living dex. There are a few to replace or that I could add, which I just haven't bothered to deal with at the moment. But I may come back to them at a later date if I need more stuff to hunt for. So, but say 14 of the 13 of the remaining 18 are available in Legends EA. So I'm going to be hunting for those first. 4 are the unknowns that I'm missing. I was pressing completely wrong buttons. All over the place with the button presses. Okay. So bouncing between games, I always get thrown by the controls. I press a button in one game that opens a menu and it doesn't open the menu in another game. Which do I want to go for? Psyduck or Apom? I'm going to go for Apom. This is just going to be a very quick in and out to check if there are any instant spawns. If there was one in the Crimson Mylands, I would have gone there. So no massive mass outbreaks. Yeah, I'd already done Legends Arceus. I think Legends Arceus was one of the first ones I cleared out for shinies. Or did I do Sword and Shield? I might have actually done Sword and Shield, not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet first. Cleared that out for shinies. No, because I had the awkward ones. I'd left the awkward ones, the Dunsparce and Mousehold. I hadn't bothered with them in Scarlet and Violet. I went back to do Legends Arceus first. Okay. Yeah, I cleared out Legends Arceus first, then went back to Sword and Scarlet and Violet. That's another one I went back for. I had one left to get in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I'd do a Blue and Radar hunt for that. And we're back over here. I don't enjoy radar hunts. I never have done. That's one shiny hunting method I never really got into. Which way do I want to go? I go this way. Yeah, so down to say 13 and Legends EA I'll be hunting for at present. If they do add anything new, I'll be going for those as well. So I've still got the unknown to get, so I'll try and get them in this. Nope. yeah, Legends Arceus has been the best way to get unknowns that I'm aware of. And they're not really too difficult to shiny hunt for, it's just time consuming. So they have a very isolated spawn location. You also complete their Pokédex entry just by doing the quest for them. Once you've found all the unknown, their Pokédex entry is complete, so you almost instantly got the max shiny rate for them. Is it R4? Just sort of keeping track of time, so probably going to be at this for another hour, hour and a half, depending on when I decide to call it. Are you shiny? Excuse me. No. We'll go this one first. Trying to plan my route ahead. So it's been a while since I've done one of these sort of roaming. You see, they're not shiny. Roaming shiny hunts. Usually I'm just going back and forth between the unknown cave. So it's quite nice how it's isolated like that. And the Massive Mass Outbreak has a reasonable chance of getting unknowns to spawn. But annoyingly, Bronzor and Bronzong can appear in that same area, which does spoil it a bit. Okay. If I fast travel back up to here, it's behind me. I'd already marked it. Why do I have to look at the map again? Yeah, as I was, you might have seen at the start of the stream, I by default just started going along the same route back and forth during the to check for the unknowns, which wasn't what I was intending to do. I just done it without thinking. But okay, next spot. Yeah, is this sort of method of roaming? I would love to have more of this. Just a laid back sort of back and forth between locations, looking for a shiny, just waiting for that shiny sound to pop up. But doesn't look like we're getting that in ZA. With the areas so confined, it looks like it might be more akin to the town resets in Scarlet and Violet. So you just sort of sit at the entrance to the wild area and just sort of walk in and out until you hear the shiny sound. So I'm guessing it respawns the Pokemon every time you enter the... or resets the spawns of the Pokemon every time you re-enter the area, which... so it could make shiny hunting easier, I guess, but... So if you know where the Pokemon spawn, sort of, it might be a case of pick this wild area and you just start going in and out of it until the Pokemon spawn shiny. Which is fine, just a bit dull. I mean, I guess that's kind of what people didn't really like about shiny hunting in Scarlet and Violet to an extent. Well, that was more the shiny sound but being missing. But it was very easy to just sort of to focus the shiny hunts in Scarlet and Violet using the sandwiches. which I love the ability to isolate sandwiches that much. That's up the cliff, isn't it? That's not really where I want it to be going. But I'm going there anyhow. No shiny suns, I came up the cliff. I want to check the unknowns. If I actually get a new unknown during this stream, that would be amazing. A slightly low sweep across the area. A bit low to get into the cave though. Is this an outbreak or is this... It is! I just realised I should have really been saving every time I enter an area. Right, so I'm just going to quickly save on this one. And because these are unknown, I'm going to knock them out. So I'm just going to clear these out. And this is why I've got Darkrai first up in my party, because it's super effective against them. Even if I use Shadow Ball, which isn't even stab. Oh. I don't know if this will give me another wave of the outbreak afterwards, but just knocking out the shiny, just knocking them all out will give me additional chances to get a shiny. Yeah, this is basically what I've been doing off stream a lot. I'll be going back and forth between this area. When there's an outbreak, I knock out the outbreak. Okay. It's an invisible unknown. Okay. Apparently this is an unknown C. Annoyingly, one I need shiny, and it just didn't appear. Which is odd. Oh look, a Z as well. I'm finding all the unknowns that I want shiny, just not shiny. Is there a W and an N here as well? No, that's an H. Just freeze. Okay, it's right in front of me. No, I don't want to be in the way of that. So the whole sort of battle mechanism, or battle system, they were clearly starting to head that way with Legends Arceus, so you can quite freely move around. And battles aren't the traditional turn-based in this. They were sort of taking up ideas from other... Ooh, new horde. They were picking up ideas from other sort of RPGs in their sort of combat system. So this sort of... It's more speed-based in their battles. Or priority-based, rather than sort of standard turn-based. Which, it was just a way of experimenting with new battle mechanics, but... So Legends Arceus kind of brushed over that a lot. So the fast and the strong attacks sort of was all part of that. But a lot of people just saw it as just the same old turn-based. But it was still turn-based, but they were playing with the order of the turns to make it priority-based rather than standard turn-based. Doesn't look like this is going to give me any shinies from this outbreak, unfortunately. Now we're done. It's just those three left. Right, where to next? I should head up top and... I'm going to check these 4 along the top. Excuse me. Why am I... There. Right. Head back this way. I think the battle system in this game was a really interesting way of doing it, making it priority based rather than standard turn based. I mean, it's still got the sort of old structure of turn based from the main games, and just plays around with that. But a lot of people forget about that because they didn't really have much battling in this game. I think that might be why they've gone so heavily into battling in the new game. I think they've realised that it got overshadowed, and they're now sort of trying to fix it. So they don't want a repeat of the same mistakes they made with Arceus. So this was an interesting battle system that they introduced, but people just sort of forgot about it, which was definitely a shame. So I can understand them wanting to focus on the battle system in ZA more, but I do think it does still need the sort of exploration and catching in it as well, in order to live up to what made the Legends games good, or what made Legends Arceus good. And they seem to have not done that, based on the reviews I've seen. Which I think is a missed opportunity. So it's a case of more focus on what they need to focus on, but they're leaving behind some important aspects as well. So I think, yeah, I'm just not too sure about it. Not like never got any of them. Of all the unknown outbreaks I've got 2 spares just sitting in a box. At least 2 spares, I think it was 2. Probably got more on Pokemon Home. And again. That was another thing. Some of the reviews, there's a definite divide in the reviews for Legends ZA. So some are really positive, some are sort of middling. And I get the feeling I'm going to agree more with the middling reviews rather than the really positive ones. Because the positive reviews sound like they're not really Pokemon fans a lot of the time. They make a very big deal about, oh, this battling system's amazing, this, that and the other, and then they just brush over any of the issues. They just focus on the battling. And Pokemon's not just about battling. I get annoyed when people say Pokemon's all about the battling. It's not. It has never been. They say it is. It's not. The whole slogan of Pokemon is gotta catch them all. Catching is the focus of the game. You then battle with them, but the focus should be on catching. And I kind of feel Legends ZA might be forgetting that a bit. And to be honest, I think the Pokemon Company may be forgetting that in general a bit at the moment, as they're doing this whole... Well, I always wonder if they're trying to separate the two. Where'd it go? Yeah, I was wondering. I think I saw the spark of it disappearing, and thought it might have been a shiny colouring, which wasn't arranged to do the sparkle zone. Anyway. But I'm wondering if the Pokemon Company is sort of trying to separate off the battling side of the game with this new Pokemon Champions, I think it is, app. Or like, they're calling it a game, but I'm not really sure how much game there is to it, as it's just a battle system. Pokemon Battle Revolution was another one like that, which I don't really know if I'd call it a game. If there's no sort of storyline or objective to a game, I don't really like calling it a game. I'm of a similar opinion with all these sort of like Fortnite and that, where it's just well, I get with ranking, I guess, it's just competitive. It's oh, there's one port. One button again. Actually, I did want to press that button because I want to switch to the pause. Hop onto it. Easy, easy, easy. Didn't even know I was there. That's a satchel. Oh, got a satchel. Oh, that's another shiny. Excuse me. And up the count. Done. So I'm just going to have a quick sip of drink. Okay. Just had to wet my whistle a bit there. I've already checked that one. Let's just... Oh wait, I can... I'll go from this way. Yeah, I've never really got into competitive things. I don't really see competitive stuff as being like proper games, really. So if there's a competitive side to a game, it needs to be something you can just do for fun. But a lot of these sort of competitive games just get too bogged down with being competitive rather than fun. And the sort of competitive side of Pokemon, I think, is like that. So there's a lot of games, as soon as you start sort of competing, it sort of loses the fun for me. You just get too bogged down in trying to win all the time that you're not just enjoying the game for what it is. And I've always liked a lot of Nintendo's games, so it's like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. Those are games that you can just have fun with. You can play competitively, but at the same time, you can just have fun. There's so many other games that you really need, if you're playing them, sort of, they're only competitive, and it loses the fun for me. I just don't enjoy that sort of game. And I kind of find competitive Pokemon the same. Like, just as soon as you get into the battling, that is competitive. So I've never really sort of... if you're battling it against like friends and stuff, there's always going to be like whoever plays the most. So if I was to play against my friends, I have so many sort of resources and stuff available compared to them because I play it so much more than them. I would probably just beat them, even using like shinies for a laugh. And it wouldn't really be fair. and so can't really get into sort of casual battling really with Pokemon. I don't think it's just never really. We'll see how ZA handles it. So the sort of battle royale thing, whatever it is, that could make it a bit more interesting. Just a mad blitz with other players might be fun. That might be moving to fix it with these real time actions and stuff. So that could make it more fun without getting bogged down in the competitive side. But I get the feeling it will. But so I think they might be trying to divide that based from the main games, based on this Pokemon Champions or whatever it is, sort of bringing in. I'm to save here. Sort of bringing all the sort of competitive battling stuff into its own app. I've just been there. I'll go back over here. So I kind of wonder if they are sort of dividing the two from one another, but trying to work out which way to go. Got the marker there already, but I always tend to go this way. I'm just going to keep reverting this. Yeah, ZA does seem to go too much into the battling side of things. And if it works and it's just genuinely fun, then fine. I mean, it is technically a spin-off game. But if it's a spin-off game that isn't like the last Legends game... So this game didn't really focus on battling all that much. So it would make sense that any sort of sequels wouldn't as much either. But it seems like that's the way they're going with it. So spin-offs. Where am I going on this one? Just forget. That's in the wall. So spin-offs don't need to follow the same sort of structure as the main games, but if they're going to make it part of the same sort of series of spin-offs, you'd expect it to at least stay in that sort of line, which would mean more of a focus on exploring and catching. But Legends ZA doesn't seem to be doing that. There's the problem. So I'm just sort of concerned that they're not sticking to what worked. That they're experimenting too much, I think, is what might be happening here. Yeah. That's what I was thinking there. So, hi there. I'm just doing some random shiny hunts while talking about my thoughts on the upcoming Legends ZA game. So I'm just I'm a bit apprehensive on it. So I think they might be moving a bit too far away from what made Legends Arceus good, based on the reviews I've seen so far. So the focus on battling, I'm not really that interested in the battling side of things. Although I do like, saying that, I like Xenoblade Chronicles, and there are a lot of comparisons being made to Xenoblade Chronicles with the new battle system, which could be great. So I will probably enjoy the game, but I'm just worried it's going to let down what I would have liked from the game. Just because it's a good game doesn't mean it's what I wanted to see from it. I saw the purple flower and I thought that might be a shiny. I'm used to spotting shinies from colour rather than actually getting the shiny sound. Yeah, so the confined wild areas, the sort of limited setting of the city, are they going to work in favour of the game? Are they going to work against it? Especially shiny hunting wise. So also haven't seen anything mention of outbreaks in the reviews. I assume there would be some sort of mechanic like that, but nothing's been shown yet. There aren't. Well, they could technically add them in an update. So the massive mass outbreaks were never originally in Legends Arceus. They were added in an update later on. So I am wondering if they are just focusing. So I'm wondering if they are just focusing on the battles just to start with, because that's what they want to show off. And they're sort of holding back on some of the features to either add in an update or add through DLC. So they could, say, add outbreaks through an update. They could add new areas where they could focus more on catching through DLC. So the it didn't actually remark this spot. So they could have the Mega Evolution. Wait, what did I check this one? I'm going mad. I may have already checked that one. Yeah, I think I did. I just forgot about it. Anyway. Excuse me. So the Mega Evolution DLC, or not Mega Evolution DLC, the Mega Dimension DLC, I'm thinking if that is a whole dimension that you go to, that could be a whole new environment to explore and catch different species of Pokemon. And that is not great. That's a Drifloon, that will have to do. But if that is sort of where they're sort of hiding, sort of like the new areas, then I think there's hope for the game still. I think they could sort of make up for some of the shortcomings, but releasing the game without it, I think may end up harming it in the long run. So it's not there, it's not top. Plume marker being in the wrong place. Yeah, so I haven't seen any sort of proper spoilers or any seen reviews of the new game. There's no shinies out, I don't really care about. No, I'm being targeted, not being able to fast travel. But yeah, I think early reviews, or like the initial reviews, can be very detrimental to a sort of game's long-term image. So I saw a lot of sort of people comparing the reviews to the Scarlet and Violet reviews. I thought some of the Scarlet and Violet reviews were extremely harsh for stupid reasons. A lot of them focused on the performance of it, when I hardly ever noticed the performance issues. I've played, I think, over 1,700 hours in Pokemon Violet alone, and I hardly noticed the technical issues. I mean, they're there, sure. I'm not going to drop a game's sort of review score just because they were trying to be a bit too ambitious with it. I mean, the vast majority of the game runs without a problem and you don't really notice it. And people are comparing it to those reviews. People are comparing ZA's reviews to those reviews. And it's like, this is two very different situations, and they're reviewing it based on the fact that it runs smoothly on the Switch 2. It's like, it's a Switch 1 game. Of course it's going to run smoothly on the Switch 2. So they forget that it is... Where am I going with this? Over there. No, nothing initial, so I'm going to... Back. They sort of are forgetting that this was originally supposed to be a Switch 1 game and it just got put back to Switch 2. It's like, yeah, of course it is. And I mean, if anything, I mean, they're applauding it because it runs smoothly on the Switch 2. And it's like, yeah, it runs smoothly, but it's still got basically Switch 1 level graphics. I mean, the more critical reviews are commenting on how the buildings are very flat in their textures. I mean, like, you get balconies that are just two-dimensional. I've seen that in some of the screenshots already. That's not exactly a spoiler or anything, but it's like they're trying to avoid that pitfall that they had with Scarlet and Violet by making sure it runs smoothly, but at the detriment to what they could have done. I honestly never had any issues with Scarlet and Violet. I did not think it ran horribly at all. There were a few areas that had issues, which was because they pushed it too far, but I never had that. And I'm pretty sure they fixed that with an update. So I think once it was discovered they did fix it, which... so I'd never had that issue. And I personally don't know anyone who actually had that happen to them. So it didn't seem like a very common issue as far as I'm aware, so it's unfortunate if it happened to you, but games always have bugs like that. So there are a lot of games that have issues, but they still get good reviews because they get fixed in updates, like, so most of Scarlet and Violet did, but it did have the issue of not having enough power. So Scarlet and Violet was originally planned to be on a console that we didn't have at the time. I'm transferring from Go. I still never ran into that issue. Oh wait, I remember that. Yeah, there was a thing. I'm pretty sure they fixed that bug. I wouldn't be surprised if that was more of the Pokemon Go end that was causing the problem. Because Pokemon Go is horrendously buggy, and a lot of the time I don't think the devs on that know what they're doing a lot of the time. And they're just sort of patching the two systems together, which... It's unsurprising there would be issues, so it's unfortunate that there was the more game-breaking issue with it in that situation. And I'm being targeted again. But I don't even... Was that even in the game from the start? So that wouldn't have affected reviews. Yeah, I sort of remember hearing about it, but... So, you were going between two different game systems, and so on Niantic's... It was sort of patched together. So was the transfer from... so I don't recall the transfer from Pokemon Go to... Scarlet and Violet. You said the issue was with transferring from Go, so if it was before the issue with before the Pokemon Go support was added, then I'm just getting confused with what the actual issue was here. So I'm sort of not following what was it when the actual issue came. Oh, got more likely when transferring from Go. But yeah. So I don't actually really recall hearing about it before Pokemon Go connectivity came in. So I guess it could have. I guess technically that could happen in any game where your game file can just get corrupted for some reason. But Pokemon Go probably wouldn't have helped, I assume. So I don't know what would have caused it before that. But yeah, I know they did fix it, but I don't think you can really criticise a game for an odd bug that they weren't even aware of that very rarely happened when the game first released. Oh, that's big. It's bigger than I was expecting one of those to be when it was alpha. I just think a lot of the early reviews of Scarlet and Violet were very critical on the performance when I didn't really have any issue with the performance. So, I mean, it didn't run the smoothest, no, but technically it was originally planned to be a Switch 2 game, and it just came out much earlier than the Switch 2 because the Switch 2 got held back. So, you were basically running a game on a console that was not designed to handle it. Which, okay, they could have sort of dialed things back, but I'm guessing they were sort of too far through development to really dial it back any more than what they did. So I just felt that a lot of the Scarlet and Violet reviews were a bit too harsh on the game. But yeah, the reviews for Scarlet for ZA are being compared to those a lot. I've seen saying, "Oh, it's getting higher reviews than Scarlet and Violet." It's like, but they're very mixed reviews. So some reviews are very positive for ZA, some reviews are very negative. So overall, the average is coming out higher than Scarlet and Violet, but I don't think either are particularly fair reviews. So some of the reviews I've seen for ZA already, they talk about like new features and changes being made to the games, which were already in Legends Arceus. Why am I going on that one? They'd already been made in Legends Arceus. It's a returning feature from Legends Arceus, and these reviewers are talking about it as if it's a new thing, and they're either praising or criticising the game for doing these differences that aren't actually different. They're comparing them to the wrong games. They, if anything, they need to be comparing it to Legends Arceus, not to Scarlet and Violet. I think it's my main point I'm getting at. Do that. But some of the reviews that I've read are just, or seen on line. I just can't believe they clearly don't understand Pokemon games. They talk out things and just they'd say things, and it's just they're wrong of what they're saying, and sometimes with some of those reviews, I was very close to just shutting them off altogether when they've done that sort of thing. Excuse me. Clear my throat a second. Oops, no. Oh no, it's over this way. But there was like one guy, I remember saying, he complained that there was a mission in ZA that there was a mission that he got late in the game, or he'd done late in the game, that should have been a lot earlier in the game, and it seemed like he just had skipped it when he was first playing through the game, and then didn't come back to it until later on, and it's like, that's his fault. It's like, so he was criticising the game for not putting things in the correct order, and they let you do them in any order you want. If he done them in the wrong order, that's his fault. And just when they start talking about things like that, it's just, I just couldn't take those reviews seriously after that. And a lot of them were talking about the lack of voice acting. It's like, okay, fair enough, but that's not like the end of the world. I mean, yeah, you could have voice acting. Does it need it? Don't know yet. Probably not. Honestly, a lot of the time when I'm playing Pokemon games, I don't have the sound on. I will quite often just be sitting watching something else without actually having the sound on. Well, obviously in this game I'm sort of listening for the shiny sound, but Scarlet and Violet I would quite often just sit there playing it without sound on. All the past games I would just play without the sound on. This is one of the Legends Arceus is one of the few games I would actually have the sound on as I was playing through it, and so voice acting is completely irrelevant, and I'm doing that. But it's like, okay, fair enough, adding voice acting wouldn't be a bad idea, but I mean, it's not the end of the world either. Oh, this is the last one there. So they seem to get hung up on very odd things in some of the reviews. Like, it would be like a 15-minute review and they'd spend 5 minutes talking about the lack of voice acting. And it's like, okay, that's a third of the review on something that has never been in a Pokemon game before, and you could literally say it for every Pokemon game. You could make the same criticism. And yet you're spending 5 minutes in a review of this game to talk about that. Doesn't seem like the best approach to take with a review. So, yeah, when they do that, oh come on. So when they do that, I'm just not too sure I want to trust those reviews. Those reviews that say stupid things like that, they're criticising the voice acting, and then giving it like high marks, high score. It's like, you literally spent a large portion of this video just criticising it, and the only real positive thing they've had to say the entire time is it changes Pokemon battles, essentially. I mean, fine. So as I was saying earlier, Legends Arceus also changed Pokemon battles, but it just got overlooked a lot of the time. And when they talk about like the status conditions being changed in Legends EA, and it's like, that is how they work in Legends Arceus. Pokemon don't go to sleep. They get dozy or whatever it is, whatever the effect is, and they don't get frozen. They get chilled or whatever term it is. I can't actually know the names of them because there's not enough battling in the game. But it seems like they have taken the criticisms for Legends Arceus when developing this game, and they've just like, oh, they wanted more battling. Let's focus on battling. The battling does look good. The battling does look like it is a refreshing change. Whether or not I think it should be a full-time change, I don't think so. I don't think they should permanently move away from the turn-based system, because turn-based system is what makes Pokemon Pokemon. That is how it's always been, and that is what makes Pokemon Pokemon. So I don't think they should move away from that permanently, but having these Legends games as sort of side games that connect to the main games, but do their own thing, I think is fantastic. Just keep doing this. Just have the Legends game as the one that plays around with the mechanics. Maybe take little bits into the main game. Say like they've introduced the open world encounters to Scarlet and Violet, which started off in the side games, spin-off games. That was a fantastic addition. Just keep doing that. Where am I going now? I've missed out this whole section. Where's that? Where's that way? I see people calling for, like, this is the best thing in Pokemon history to have changed this battle mechanic. It's like, no, that's a very narrow-minded view of the whole Pokemon games in general, and they're clearly not Pokemon fans in the slightest. These people that are saying these, and it's like when it's spoiling what the game does so well before. It's it's just some of these reviews I just can't take them seriously because of some of the comments they made. They are clearly not made by people who are even remotely familiar with Pokemon games. And it's like one of them, he was talking about like the last Pokemon game he played, and it was like decades ago. It was like decades ago that he last played a Pokemon game. It's like, and then he was saying, "Oh, it's better than Scarlet and Violet." And it's like, you just said the last time you played a Pokemon game properly was way before Scarlet and Violet. Did you even play Scarlet and Violet? And yet you're criticising it, and it's just, did he even give it a chance? When he's... And some reviews just... I don't think they're fair to the games when... If people who don't understand the games themselves review a game, I don't think it's fair. If they don't even give the game a chance. I mean, so many people I know of just wrote off... I know people who wrote off Legends Arceus just because they saw a couple of reviews that said it wasn't good, but they really shouldn't overlook Legends Arceus. They shouldn't overlook Scarlet and Violet either. A lot of people didn't play Scarlet and Violet straight away because it got bad reviews. And some are only going back to play the game now that it's on the Switch too. It's like, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, they fixed... Hey, finally got one back here. I mean, they fixed some of the issues. I mean, the game started off with bugs. Yeah, sure. They fixed as many of them as they could. Performance was still an issue. Oh, that's disappointing. I'm still going to check the unknowns anyhow. But, yeah, some people that review games, they really shouldn't be left to review games if they don't enjoy a game to start with, and they're not going to give it a good review. And Pokemon is a very divisive game series in that sense. It's kind of like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, I guess. But when they have people reviewing games that are clearly not going to enjoy the game because they've not given previous games in the series a chance, is that fair to actually have that as a legitimate review of the game? And I don't think it is. And you get other... There are other franchises that just get glowing reviews from every reviewer, but they've only been reviewed by people who like those sorts of games. When you get Pokemon games, and I think a lot of it is that they just want to be part of the review sort of score, regardless of whether or not they review it properly. And it's the whole review system. I just don't listen to a lot of the time anymore. I will look at reviews very selectively. So as I've been looking around at the ZA reviews, some of them I've just been ignoring. I'll sort of read a bit of them, or watch a bit of them if they're video reviews, and they'll get to a point where I'm like, this is not going to be a legitimate review, I'm not going to bother with the rest of this, and I'll just turn it off. And there is way too much of that about. And it's like, why did you even review this? You were clearly going to give it a bad review. And occasionally you see reviews where it's like, have you actually played the game yourself, or are you just basing this on other people's reviews? So with Scarlet and Violet, it was like, you'd see people reviewing games and they're talking about all the bugs left, right and centre everywhere. It's like, when you actually play the game, you hardly see them. I mean, there were bugs. There still are. Even the Switch 2 hasn't got it running perfectly, but it's had a troubled development run because of moving consoles. But it's... yeah, I just can't get behind a lot of the reviews. So, if the reviewer knows what they're talking about, I will quite quickly pick up on it and take that into consideration. If they're just copying what someone else has said, or just going off this sort of popular opinion, they shouldn't be writing a review. That's not their opinion. If they're not properly judging the game, don't review it. Just... So, a lot of the reviews that I think are more accurate for ZA do unfortunately be they do seem to be the ones that aren't quite as good. And they still praise the battle system. So all the reviews are praising the battle system. But most of the positive reviews only talk about the battle system. They talk about the battle system and the fact that it runs smoothly on Switch 2. And Switch 1. But it seems to have been designed for the Switch 1. So, considering they had so much issue with the Scarlet and Violet performance, I think they scaled everything back to run well on the Switch 1. And then the Switch 2 is just like, yeah, this is just going to work. It's just a given that it will work. But they're just focusing on the wrong things in these reviews. Or at least the ones that review it positively. It's like, battles, performance. You shouldn't really be talking about the performance of a Switch game running on Switch 2 hardware. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's an awkward one. And I have not got a shiny in a little while. Yeah, the middling reviews I think are more fair from what I've seen of them. Say they do still praise the. They do still praise the battle system. So the battle system does look great. They do comment on the performance, but also point out the fact that this is essentially a Switch 1 game running on the Switch 2 hardware. Which is understandable, but they sort of mention it and move on. They don't sort of make a huge deal about it like some of these other reviews that I've seen. I mean, what do you expect? Is their sort of view on it. They do criticise some of the graphics on the Switch 2 version because it is essentially Switch 1 graphics that have just been sort of scaled up for Switch 2. And they, if anything, turn what some of the more positive reviews view as a positive. They actually make that into a bit of a negative. And it's like, but they sort of acknowledge, but yes, this is a Switch 1 game. So they don't really make that big of a deal of it. I mean, it would have been nice to get a proper upgrade, but what we've basically got is a port. It's a Switch 1 game ported to Switch 2. I actually don't know how much. I've seen some comparisons between the Switch 1 version and the Switch 2 version of the game. It doesn't really seem like there's that much of a difference to me. I mean, I think like render distance or sort of pop-in distance or whatever. I think that's the biggest thing that changes. But a lot of the time you don't really see it because of the enclosed streets. And I think that's kind of why they've stuck with the city setting. You don't see the pop-in, so that's why it would work better on the Switch, which did have the shorter draw distance. Go now. I've done that. But yeah, and so the spawn, the areas, the Pokemon spawns, that does seem to be one of the larger criticisms of the game that I've seen from the, let's say, more reasonable reviews. And I actually can't remember what Legends Arceus got in its reviews. I don't think it got that good reviews, but I think that was another one that was just very poorly reviewed again. I think that was a lot of the reviews sort of complaining there's not enough battling. It's like, and like, a lot of scores were brought down because of it. And that's probably why they have gone the other way with Legends EA. They've gone all in on the battling. Now they're going to get sort of criticised in their reviews for not having enough exploration and catching as a result. And it's just damned if you do and damned if you don't. But I think there's going to be things in Legends EA that they've lost from what I've seen. So I think the lack of exploration is going to be missed. So everything being confined to the city that is definitely going to be restrictive. So I was hoping they'd have had some sort of sneaky loophole that where they were hiding other areas, but doesn't really sound like... A lot of people talk about the catacombs. I've seen people say, I hope there's catacombs. I've heard rumours about catacombs. They've actually released official images showing a catacombs-like area. I think it was only on the Japanese site or something. Or, no, it was in the Japanese trailer. It was in like a TV commercial or something like that. Released in Japan. So it was already basically confirmed that we would be getting like catacombs-style area. But that isn't really... I mean, yeah, it's a different environment, but that's one slightly different area. Well, it's one cave, but it's like... I'm assuming it's going to be like the caves in this game, where it's just like... just a sort of small tunnel underground that you actually get to go into. And... do I want to get... Oh, go up here. That is... I'm getting the game. It's on its way. I've gone for a physical copy, as it works out cheaper for me. Just looking at my route. I'll go north first. Yeah, I got my physical copy on the way. I'm going to play it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm just concerned that it's not going to live up to the hype. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, brilliant, another Legends game. And then not living up to the hype of what Legends Arceus was. I mean, reviews aside, I've already been talking about the reviews being a lot of nonsense a lot of the time. But I was hoping another Legends game would be in this same vein, at least. And it doesn't seem like they've hit the mark with that. So, enjoy it, probably. Will it be a sort of long-term game to play? Possibly not. So it seems like once you've sort of done the Battle League and you caught the Pokemon, it's going to be kind of restricted what you really do beyond that, and it probably won't have the sort of level of options you have with Legends Arceus to like start shiny hunting properly. Well, it might be, but I get the feeling shiny hunting isn't going to be as good because of the environments, and I think the game is going to lose out because of that. I mean, just look at what I'm doing now. I'm just roaming around outbreaks, looking for shinies. And I love it. This is fun. This is relaxed. This is just chill. I've got a few shinies already today, and I'm happy with that. I mean, I don't get shinies as quickly as I do in like Scarlet and Violet. I mean, that was kind of silly. But it's just... it's a very enjoyable experience, even without the shinies, just sort of roaming around like this. I mean, me scaling up a cliff face. Switching back and forth between the right Pokemon. Which probably isn't how it was intended. But... yeah, it doesn't look like this sort of exploration side of things is in the game. It looks like Scarlet and Violet had a lot of very easy ways to shiny hunt. And I get the feeling that Legends ZA might end up being more akin to that than Legends Arceus was. Based on the sort of smaller areas and the fact that the Pokemon seem to despawn when you just leave that little area, rather than having... avoid the battle. Rather than having like every Pokemon in the area spawn like you do in this game, you've only got like a handful of Pokemon that spawned in at a time in Legends ZA by the sounds of it, and it's like... oh yeah, no way. And it's... is that going to be as enjoyable? Are you going to be able to just walk in and out of an area and just listen for the shiny sound? Which will be, I imagine, very similar to the town resets that you got in Scarlet and Violet, which honestly weren't the most fun. I mean, town resets and picnic resets to get shinies, they worked. They weren't as fun. The more fun ones were ones where you could roam around and wait to spot the shiny. Crack a sandwich and just start running around until you spotted a shiny. That was like some of the best shiny hunting in Scarlet and Violet. And I loved that. Outbreaks as well. You had them in an isolated area, still knock them out until you get the shiny rate up. Then roam around. And that's like the outbreaks from this. So it was an element of Legends Arceus that was actually incorporated into the main series games, and it worked. Didn't have the... are you kidding me? You're waiting there in the middle of the outbreak. But that was all good, fun shiny hunting. Just... that's how I'd want it to be in another Legends game. But they don't seem to have done it. And it is kind of disappointing. Well, it looks like it will be disappointing. I'm sure that the battling will make up for it, but it will be a very different sort of game. I was hoping for a Legends game would be like the first Legends game. And it just doesn't look like it will be. Which is really a shame. I'm just going to go straight to the main to start off with in this area. I've done it so many times I can basically... I've actually done it without looking before now. And even getting the glide in through the door. And no shiny. Yeah, not very often I actually get a shiny from doing that. I should really have marked the outbreak. Yeah, so I've avoided any sort of spoilers, story spoilers and stuff. I've avoided as many of the spoilers as I can, which is actually most of them. I'm guessing. I've seen stuff that's been officially announced. I've seen the reviews, but that's it so far. Excuse me. So I will be playing the game. So I'm sure I will enjoy it. but it will just be different. I would like it to have been the same, or just more of the same, or just expanding on what they already had. They had Legends Arceus running well on the Switch already. They could have just stuck with that. I mean, it doesn't. The sort of style of it, it's got like the cell shaded style. Some people criticise, but it works. I mean, if you're criticising a game over things that work for it, it's like, just because it's not how you might do it doesn't mean that's a negative for the game. So I'm not writing off Legends Z8 in any means. I'm sure it will be a fun game to play. I'm just a bit disappointed. It sounds like it's missing out on some of what Legends Arceus had that I've enjoyed so much, and a lot of other people enjoyed so much. It's what made the game iconic as the sort of first Legends game. And it's like they just. I get the feeling that I would have preferred it if they hadn't called it Legends ZA. And they just called it like Pokemon ZA. Or just given it a new name. Give it a new sort of series or sub-series title. They could still have integrated elements of Legends into it, just not called it a Legends game. I mean, I just said that even Scarlet and Violet has integrated elements from Legends Arceus into the main series games. But I'm sort of tempted. I've actually already been calling it. I'd just call it ZA rather than Legends ZA a lot of the time, because it doesn't really feel right to call it a Legends game. From what I've seen, at least. So it does appear to be moving away from what Legends Arceus say. When I talk about Legends Arceus, I say Legends Arceus. When I talk about ZA, I just say ZA. I don't say Legends ZA. I just say ZA. So it's like, it's its own thing. If you think about it, I think it's going to be best to think about it not as a Legends game. I think it just should be thought of as its own game. I mean, I guess the Legends series, I guess the intention behind it is just to be more experimental, and that could mean that every game in the series is going to be drastically different. Oh my god. Drastically different from one another. But if they find something that works, I'd rather they stuck with that and then done something else on the side. And don't sort of group, if they're going to be, to have them as a family of games, don't give them the same name. I mean, the Legends name sort of, because of Legends Arceus, creates a certain image in my mind, and I just get the feeling that ZA isn't going to do that. It's not going to hold up to that image. when I think of a Legends game, or I think of what a Legends game makes me think of, essentially. So I think it's going to be a case of just judge it independently of Legends Arceus is going to be the best approach to do for it. Because I don't think it's fair to group this in with Legends Arceus. Just because the Legends name is on the box, I don't think it should really be thought of as in the same. Based on what I've seen, it just moves the whole style. I mean, experimenting with things is fine. They could have added the battling system into a game that is like Legends Arceus more. That is more like Legends Arceus. But they didn't. They've made a game that focuses on the battling system rather than just adding it into something they've already got. And that, in my mind, is the problem. Or is going to be the problem. So I think I'm going to be missing Legends Arceus too much. If I think about ZA in the same sort of group. So I think they need to be... There needs to be more separation between the two. So Legends... The name Legends makes you think that you're learning and discovering things more. From what I've seen of Legends ZA, it just doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like you're really... So in Legends Arceus, you were like learning all this stuff about Hisui being what we now know as Sinnoh, and all of the Pokemon involved. Arceus once being called Sinnoh when they didn't know what it was. The origin forms, regional forms, the regional variant evolutions and stuff. You're learning all of this stuff, and these are the legends of the Pokemon series, and you're doing it by exploring. You're exploring to learn about the legends. In ZA, it loses that exploration. There does not appear to be the same level of exploration, and it just feels like it's going to lose the sort of spirit of the legends. Some of the reviews have said that there is a big sort of story event that you build to in the end. I haven't seen enough spoilers to know what that is, so I've managed to avoid that much. So there is obviously some sort of story to it. It looks like Zygarde is involved in the story. I have a couple of other sort of slight theories as to what might be involved as well, based on what things look like that have been shown already. It doesn't seem to be as focused on the actual legends. Wait, no, don't want to go that way. I want to go this way first. It doesn't seem to be that focused on the actual legends. It's like... It's sort of misleading to call it a Legends game if it doesn't really do that, I think. So I think that's my sort of thoughts on how it needs to be approached. It needs to be I think the name Legends is probably the biggest downfall, if anything. So thinking about it in relation to Legends Arceus is probably the biggest pitfall they've gone into. I mean, it does draw on things from Legends Arceus, but I think they just need to distance it from it. So I think my view is that I'm thinking of it in relation to Legends Arceus. I'm thinking of ZA in relation to Legends Arceus. And that's why I'm concerned that it doesn't live up to that sort of expectation. I mean, I don't think it's really a stretch to just have sort of building on what we've already got. But ZA, the way it seems at the moment, seems like they've forgotten what made Legends Arceus great in order to try something different. And it's, if they're going to try something different, just do a different game. Don't associate it with Legends Arceus by calling it a Legends game. And I think that's probably what is probably hurting it in the reviews as well. I think every one of the reviews that were viewing it in the same sort of mindset that I have... Oh, that's horrible. Sort of... So all of them were comparing it to Legends Arceus. So the ones that gave it higher reviews, a lot of them didn't even seem to understand. I don't think any of them had really played Legends Arceus. So even their criticisms didn't seem to be aware of what Legends Arceus actually done. So they were kind of clueless at some of those reviews. But yeah, it's... I think it would have just benefited the game if they'd just called it something else. So it does appear to be the downside of the game, just the fact that it's being compared to Legends Arceus. So the positive reviews don't compare it to Legends Arceus very much. Thinking about it. So I hadn't actually thought about it as I was reading through them, but now that I realise it, while they weren't the best reviews, because they obviously didn't really know much about Pokemon games, a lot of them, they clearly didn't know some details from Legends Arceus, because they thought they were new to Legends EA. And sort of thinking about it, that probably is a better way to go to separate it. They would do it. They separated it and gave it better reviews because they didn't know better. Those that did know better then couldn't separate it from Legends Arceus. So I don't think any of the reviews are probably going to be that accurate. They're either going to be swayed too far in one direction. Either you don't know what you're talking about, or you're comparing it to Legends Arceus when it shouldn't really be compared to Legends Arceus. I don't think it's similar enough. I think it should just be its own thing. I think they should review it as if it just didn't have the Legends part of the name. Just forget that it's sort of the same series. There's another shiny. Forget that it's part of the same series as Legends Arceus, and just review it on its own merits, but still with actual knowledge of Pokemon, which those other reviews did not have. Great. And that's why I saved. I was not paying attention there. Ah, crap. That's why I saved. That's why I saved. This is a good thing about Legends Arceus, that it does actually have this option to save, and it saves all the spawns in the area. Which is very handy when this happens. But yeah, I was not really paying attention to what I was doing there. It spotted me and I just ran for it. I shouldn't have done. There it is. Okay. Get into the grass. Okay. Actually, lock onto the Pokemon. Lock onto the Pokemon. Oh wow, it's even gone to sleep. Doesn't look like a very big one. Got it. Right. Okay. That's another shiny core. That's... Where am I? Looking. I should actually be calling it a day for sometime soon. So I wasn't expecting to get that many shinies today. So this isn't Scarlet and Violet speed of shiny hunts, and I wasn't going for anything, excuse me, specific. Burping my lunch. Cucumber does that to me. Cucumber in my sandwich. Okay. I should really just land and save, shouldn't I? Give it a sec. Yep. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to get many shinies from this, but it's still just an enjoyable, just chill, shiny hunt. Just look at this. You can just see, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can see the pop-in. Yeah, the graphics aren't amazing, but I would have just loved just more of this. And then the Switch 2 version just improving the pop-in and stuff, that it would have just worked. But they just seem to have... They've done something different with it. I shouldn't really be thinking of it in relation to Legends Arceus. So I'm talking about Legends EA while playing Legends Arceus, and saying that I shouldn't be thinking about Legends Arceus while talking about ZA, which is just completely messed up. But that's just how it feels like it should be. So it does seem... So it seems like... So Legends Arceus... Or Legends... In Nintendo's mind, or Pokemon Company's mind, appears to be just the experimental side of the Pokemon games, just trying new things and just being different. Problem is, if you call them all the same thing, people are going to expect them to be the same, or at least similar. And Legends ZA is not going to be as similar as people are expecting. Or would have liked, at least. Right, nothing there. Yeah, it is. I'm sure it'll be a fun game either way. I think we just need to... I think we need the right mindset going into it. And while I'm playing Legends Arceus, that's probably not the best way of doing it. But sort of thinking about it, that is probably what the issue is. it is its own game. Even if it's got the Legends name, it's not really that similar to the previous Legends game, which that's what's odd about it. It's how you think about Legends as the sort of series. They are being a lot more flexible with it than I think we expect. Because the main Pokemon games, they always stuck. I mean, people complained that they never changed enough. Now the Legend series is changing, I think, too much for it to be sort of properly appreciated, maybe. So, if anything, I just think it would be better just to just getting notifications on my phone. That's fine. I think it'd just be better just to set our thoughts on it aside. So just go into it as a whole new game. So calling it Legends, I think, is the most misleading part of it. I mean, it kind of is, because it's their experimental series, but I think that giving them the same name just because they're both experimental games. See, there's no shiny there. But that's not what I meant to do. No. Oops. Why are the Bloomin' Sisters always in this area? I just don't... They're just permanently residing here. Excuse me. Asthma. Probably allergies of some extent. Probably also talking as much. I do need to clean my room. That could be the dust aggravating me a bit. Yeah, so all this time I have been thinking about ZA in the context of Legends Arceus, and I think basically I've come to the conclusion that I shouldn't be. And if anything, that's the biggest criticism I think that can be made of the game, that it shouldn't really have the Legends name. I mean, they could... I mean, they could have still built on what they started with Legends Arceus, but given it a new name. Am I going? Okay. Get myself modded up. Well, that's a big Alakazam. Just completely flubbed saying the name there. Yeah, I'm still just sort of... I had my hopes for Legends ZA, and I don't think it's gonna meet them. And I think it's just because it's the Legends. I need to get out of the mindset of thinking of it as a Legends game. So I'm going to go into the game tomorrow, assuming the game does actually arrive on time. I'm not going to be streaming the game until next week. I'll be making a start on the game over the weekend. And I might start shiny hunting on it next week, if I get far enough. I'll have to see how far I get. But I'm going to need to remember or maybe even not remember, just put Legends Arceus out of my mind. So have this as my last sort of Legends Arceus hurrah, and once I'm done here, that'll be it. I'll sort of set aside my sort of Legends Arceus mindset and just go into it as just a whole new game. I think is going to be the way to do it. I think that is going to be the best way to approach Legends EA, because none of the reviews have done that. They've all the reviews are either people are saying about how conflicting the reviews are, and I think that is it. I think you need to set aside. I think you need to know what you're talking about to start with, because a lot of these reviews are just absolute incompetent buffoons, not knowing a word of what they're talking about, and some of the stuff they say is absolutely idiotic. But those that you need to know what you're talking about to start with. Don't just get someone who doesn't know what they're talking about to review a game. But you also need to set aside any comparisons to Legends Arceus. I think this Legends EA needs to be approached as a new game. They are doing different things with it. Just because it's a Legends game doesn't mean it's going to be like Legends Arceus. That doesn't appear to be how Nintendo are approaching Legends as a series. Legends appears to just be an experimental medium where they can try new ideas before putting them into the main games, which is fine. And they still keep bits of what worked before. If stuff is lost, so be it. But it's not just. That's what I'm showing. Oops. Oh. Can I get into the grass without being spotted, especially by that Drapion? Yes. No, not you. That one. You can turn around. Nope, other way. Not you, big Drapion. Oh, come on, you move. Crap. Well, that worked better than the Buizel. I just dived to the other side of it. Okay, that was a bit risky. It's just a dive. As it noticed me, I just dive behind it. Or sticky glob it, dive behind it, and then throw the ball from behind. I could have used jet balls to hit it from a distance, but pretty sure I've got some. Yeah. Yeah, so I should probably be calling it a day. Oh, I just realised I've still got it set to 4. That happened a bit too quickly. Joining score 5, which isn't too bad for a Legends Arceus stream. Yeah, so I have my apprehensions about ZA. I need to think about it as its own game. I think that's going to be the thing to remember. I'm hoping it's good, but I need to think of it separate from Legends Arceus. So the Legends name is kind of misleading. When we think of games under the same sort of name series, we think of those games being similar to one another, but they shouldn't really be restricted like that. So just because that's how we think of them doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be. And this is going to be a case of that. So thinking of Legend ZA as just ZA, I think it's going to be a whole lot better than thinking of it as the second Legends game. I mean, thinking of it as the second experimental game from Pokemon is probably a better way of thinking of it. I mean, even calling it like the B series or something like that of Pokemon games. Even Let's Go could be thought of being in the same sort of family as the Legends games. Even though it was a remake, it experimented with things. It was like Legends Arceus and ZA, a very experimental game. And I would quite easily group Let's Go in with the two games. I could quite easily see them as being a set of three. Three similarly experimental games. I can go over here. And then loop round because it doesn't let you go over the lava. Didn't actually mark this on the map. No. And no more shiny. Right. Yeah, so I think it's just going to be a case of just think of it as its own game. Don't get bogged down with the unnecessary. The comparisons to Legends. So you could quite easily think of Let's Go, Legends Arceus, and ZA all in a family of experimental Pokemon games, and just see them all separately, but still similarly experimental. I mean, Let's Go had the overworld spawns. You could see shiny. They had the sparkles and all that. I think that was the first game to do that. And then they had the funny capture mechanic, which kind of then got adapted with Legends Arceus, just throwing the ball at Pokemon. It improved it, but you can see the connections there. So I think it would be quite easy to put them all in one family and just put ZA in as its own thing again. Don't call it Legends, just call it ZA. And I think it would be a lot better to be received in that way, as sort of a sequel to X and Y, being ZA. Just put it as that, not Legends, because Legends makes it think of Legends Arceus. Just have it as its own game. Then expand it if you want to. So I do hope it does get expansions. I do hope we get to see more of the world. So the changes to the battle does sound like it's a good thing. I'm just going to come over here and check on my shinies up for today. Yeah, so I I never actually realised to see the background. Yeah, so we've got some decent shinies from today. But yeah, I'm hopeful that ZA is good. I just need to not think about it in the same mindset of Legends Arceus. I think it needs to be thought of as its own game. So just the name Legends is just misleading. Thinking it would be more of the same from the last Legends game, and it's probably not going to be. It's doing its own thing. It's doing something different, and I think they should have it sort of as a side family of games, kind of like Colosseum and XD. That they were like the same family of games. They didn't actually share the name. It wasn't Colosseum 2, it was XD. The names didn't make a connection, but they were sequels. It was the sequel to itself. And just putting the Legends name onto ZA does sound like it's throwing it off. I think that's just throwing off the mindset, and I need to get out of that mindset myself. So that's something I do need to get away from. But yeah, so still looking forward to it. I'm still going to play it. I really hope I enjoy it, and it will be the battling that I enjoy it for, because that's what the game's focusing on. So that's I need to focus on that more than the catching. I do have some shiny hunting to do in the game. I do hope you can still shiny hunt in the game. I get the feeling it's not going to be as good as in Legends Arceus or as Scarlet and Violet. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not a good thing. But I don't really have that much shiny hunting to do. Sounds like there's not very many new Pokemon being added, if any. So whether or not I'll even have anything new to shiny hunt for, or if I'm just stuck with the same 13 that I've got left to shiny hunt for, we'll see. So I may end up going back to the past games to pick up a few replacement shinies or a few extras here and there if I feel like it. Don't really know yet, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait and see. Yeah. So reviews, I think the reviews are falling into the same pitfall trap that I sort of went into. So the more mixed reviews, the more middling reviews, I think are thinking of it in the same way that I am as a sequel, or as a follow-up to Legends EA. I don't think it should be thought of as that, and I think the reviews that have been clearly written by people who don't know what they're talking about have actually rated it better is bizarre. Because a lot of time, people that don't like or don't really know much about Pokemon games tend to rate Pokemon games badly, which is kind of odd that this one has then gone the other way. So the people that don't really know much about Pokemon games are actually rating it better, which shows that there's merit there that usually you wouldn't expect these people to sort of pick up on, but they're seeing this merit, so there's got to be something good there. So the people you'd expect to give it good reviews are giving it worse reviews, and the people you would expect to be giving it worse reviews are giving it good reviews. And it's like, is this like the wrong mindset to be looking at it in? Is this actually just a good game, and the ones that are bringing the reviews down are thinking of it wrong because of the Legends name? So I'm hoping that is the case. So I've still been stuck in the mindset of Legends, obviously, as I've been playing Legends in the lead up to it. But yeah, I'm gonna, when I actually get to play the game, hopefully tomorrow, if it arrives on time, I'm gonna need to set that aside and just approach it as a fresh game, don't think of what it's missing. Try and get Legends Arceus out of my mind. I'll probably play a bit of Phasmophobia tonight to just clear my head. Because why not? It's Phasmophobia, it's a bit fun. But probably put Pokemon down for tonight, after I end stream, and just prepare for tomorrow. I mean, I'm probably going to have to come back to this to shiny hunt for more unknowns, but that's going to be a very slow process, so it's going to be something I have to work on over time. But in the meantime, excuse me. Oh, sorry, just burping my lunch again. Tuna sandwich. Cucumber makes me burp every time. But yeah, I'm hoping it's good. Really hoping it's good. So, don't know what shiny hunting is going to be like. Outbreak sounds like it's not in the game. Could be added in. Might not be added in. Hopefully the DLC will fix things, or at least add more to the game. Maybe that's where the Legends comes from, and the start of the game is just the battling, then we move into the actual Legends. Maybe, I don't know. So the restricted areas could work better for shiny hunting if, like, I've seen people saying like 5 spawns in an area or something stupid like that, and it's like, if that's it, but you can just reset it every time you come in and out, and it's just a case of walking through a gate back and forth, like a short sort of animation as you go, that's just like the picnic resets or the town resets that you got in Scarlet and Violet. Not as many spawns, but if most of those Pokemon are the Pokemon you're hunting for, because there's not that much variety in the areas, the negatives could turn into positives. So I'm holding out hope that that is the case, that some of these negatives do end up being positives in the long run. But yeah, so fingers crossed. If not, I'm just going to try and enjoy the game as much as I can. So I will be streaming it next week, almost certainly, because I'm going to be playing the game a lot. So if I get far enough in the game, I might be shiny hunting on it, or trying to see how the shiny hunting is. It may go terribly, it may not. I may just end up playing through the game. We'll have to wait and see. So probably next week at least, I'll be playing Legends Arceus. Legends. ZA. I default say Legends Arceus, because I associate Legends with Legends Arceus. Legends ZA. I really do think it shouldn't have the Legends name. But yeah, we have had all the spoilers as well come out lately, but I'm not too sure. There's the leaks. I'm not too sure how reliable some of those are. Some of them feel like they're like revisits to old ideas rather than new ideas. I mean, like the names Wind and Waves, that could make sense. That sounds reasonable. The next Legends game being Gala, sure, might be a bit soon, but if they... I would love Legends Gala to go back to Legends Arceus style and like go to the past, or even just have it as a big open world that you can just roam all around in, because they were starting to do that in Sword and Shield. But sort of open up the areas, have the Crown Tundra, the Isle of Armor all as part of that area. If it's one massive area, that would be insane. Would be doable. I mean, they've done it with like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, large areas like that. That was on the Switch. On the Switch 2, do it even better, even with all the Pokemon spawns. I mean, there would be drop-in, but at that distance, it'll be fine. Scarlet and Violet range drop spawn distance now would be fine. But yeah, so some of the other things are talking about. Yeah, they're planning to have 18 boss fights, one of each type. It's like, That's literally what they've done in Scarlet and Violet. There's literally... they're probably a different style of boss fight that they're talking about, but that in itself is what they've already done, rather than having just like 8 gyms and then 4 Elite 4. It's only 12. Having all 18, that's a lot more balanced because it's all the types. Makes sense. So Scarlet and Violet has already done that. I liked that idea. And they had different varieties of boss fights. They had the Titans, they had the gyms, they had the Team Star Camps. It worked. There was the idea of the seed Pokemon. I think that is like Spinder, because the seed is basically a seed number that is generated when you start the game, is what it sounds like, and they're talking about it generating patterns when it evolves, like Spinder, which has its patterns based on your trainer ID and secret ID. That same seed. It sounds like it's just that same concept that they're just reusing. They're doing a new version of Spinder, but seemingly, possibly as a sort of branching, maybe legendary evolution, which then just makes me think of Cosmog with night and day. And it's like, okay, different legendaries, different evolving, different islands. It makes sense. There's also the talk about the I'm just going to move these into my party to take a picture of it in a sec. Oops. Yeah, there's the talk of the open world game that they're working on. It's like, that's an interesting idea. It's not surprising. The MMO as well. And procedurally generated. It's like, yeah, I can quite easily see this as being things that Pokemon Company are working on. Doesn't really sound that surprising to me. But these are being reported as like new leaks and stuff. It's kind of stupid. People are sort of going nuts over some of these details. It's like, is that really much of a stretch? I mean, it makes sense for them to go that way going forward. But whatever. I'm not. We don't even know if a lot of those leaks are still going to be a thing. They may end up abandoning those ideas before it actually comes to pass. So apparently it was quite an old leak that has only just been released. So it may amount to nothing. So these may not actually come to light. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just going to call it here. I'll probably take a quick screenshot in a sec of the Pokemon that I've caught today to try and get a thumbnail. I don't know how I'm going to do the thumbnail today. I've been doing it differently lately just to see how it works for the video. But this video will be uploaded probably later tonight. Because I've been uploading it directly rather than using Twitch's transfer system, because it just seems to be quicker. But I'll be doing that tonight to get that uploaded. So if you're watching this on Twitch, please check out my YouTube where you can find all my past VODs. If you're watching this on YouTube, please check out my Twitch to catch me live. You can find links in both places. So in profiles, there'll also be a link in the YouTube description to my Twitch. And in profiles you can find the links either way. Use the same name in both places. You can just do a search for me. But I should be live again next Monday playing Legends ZA, so the right name this time. Probably do a couple of streams of that next week. So I don't know exactly what I'll be doing in that yet. We'll see where I'm at in the game. It'll be a surprise for me as well. So after that I do have a couple of other stream ideas to do, which we'll have to wait and see. Just noticed the painting I forgot about. Or photo. Yeah, so I've got a couple of ideas of things to do coming up. So Phasmophobia, I'm going to be wanting to prestige down to level 1 again. It'll be my first time prestiging, so I'll see how far I can get after prestiging in a single stream. it'll be a interesting thing to try. Don't know how well I'll do. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, then also want to go back to the Batman Arkham games, because it's been around a year since I started streaming, and I started streaming Batman Arkham City. So I've never played Batman Arkham Asylum, so I'm thinking of going back to play Legend. I'm saying Legends too much today. I'm thinking of playing Batman Arkham Asylum as a sort of 1 year streaming celebration sort of thing. So that will probably last me a few weeks, because I don't think it's as long as Batman Arkham City. Said the name right that time. But anyway, so that's the plan. So hopefully getting Legends EA arriving tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully that all goes smoothly, and yeah, I'll be playing that over the weekend. So hopefully it all works well, and goes smoothly and is good. So must stop thinking about it in the mindset of Legends Arceus. But yeah, I've just checked my order update for my copy of Z8, and at 5:30 this afternoon it arrived in the Amazon facility in Milton Keynes. It's on its way, so hopefully it arrives sooner rather than later tomorrow, so I can be getting a good start on that. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm avoiding as many spoilers as I can for it, so as to enjoy it without spoilers. But yeah, so it should be playing that next Monday, so please tune in then to see what I get up to. So even I don't know what I'm going to be doing on that yet. But until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you around.